American Idol is full of train wreck auditions, from contestants cursing out the judges, to literally stopping mid-song during Hollywood Week to fire their own pianist. I'll be going over every rude audition that shocked American Idol, starting with one of the most entitled, the impatient edgelord. Andrew Fenlon walked into his season 9 audition already pissed off, and it showed the second he opened his mouth.
And why are you here, Andrew?
I'm here auditioning for American Idol. Should be fairly obvious.
Dude had been waiting all day, and instead of keeping it professional, he decided to let everyone know how annoyed he was. The judges asked him about his motivation, his passion, why he was even there. And Fenlon, he responded with sarcasm.
What brought you here to audition?
What brought me here to audition?
Dismissed their questions like they didn't matter, like the whole process was beneath him. You could see it on the judges' faces. They weren't impressed, but Fenlon didn't care. He was already in his own head, already defensive before anyone even criticized him. Then he started singing House of the Rising Sun.
There is a house in New Orleans.
And it was bad, like really bad, off key, no control, just a mess. Simon called him out on it, told him his attitude was a problem, that his talent didn't match his confidence. But here's where it gets worse. Fenlon didn't back down. He argued back.
You know, for you to have a bad attitude about that kind of pisses me off.
I think you're reading it too far.
Started lecturing the judges about patience in the industry, about how they should give him more respect, like he was teaching them something they didn't already know after years of doing this show. Simon wasn't having it, called out his entitlement right there on camera, and Fenlon just kept going. No apology, no humility, just pure defensiveness. He acted like the judges owed him something just for showing up, and this is what makes this moment so revealing. Fenlon walked in thinking his edge would carry him, that his confidence would make up for his lack of skill, but entitlement without talent is just noise. He wasn't rude because he was confident. He was rude because he couldn't handle being average. And that's the first layer of what we're unpacking here. Because as bad as this was, the auditions only get more unhinged from here. And speaking of unhinged, the next contestant didn't just talk back. He straight up told Simon to kiss his ass. The virgin disaster. Keith Buchelier from season 2 thought he was about to blow everyone's minds. He walked into that audition room ready to deliver what he believed was a masterpiece. His song choice? Like a Virgin by Madonna. And look, if you're gonna cover Madonna, you better bring it. Keith did not bring it. His voice was nasal.
It's the line of dance.
His dance moves were awkward. He was mispronouncing words left and right. He was doing this whole sensual performance thing that just didn't land at all. The judges watched in painful silence. Randy had his head down. Paula was trying not to laugh. Simon looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. And when Keith finished, Simon didn't hold back. He called Keith the worst singer in the world.
I think you're possibly the worst singer in the world.
Harsh? Maybe. But also not exactly wrong. Now, most people would take that L and move on. Maybe laugh about it later with friends. But the real shock came after. Because instead of laughing it off or taking the L with grace, Keith went full petty mode. On camera, in his exit interview, for millions of people to see. He looked directly into the lens and told Simon to kiss his butt for not recognizing his talent.
Simon is the biggest jerk I have ever met. He told me I'm the worst singer in the world, so he can go kiss my ass.
Not privately, not in a joking way, dead serious. He genuinely thought Simon was the problem. Not his singing, not his performance. And here's why that matters. This wasn't just a bad singer getting roasted. That happens all the time on American Idol. This was a guy who genuinely believed he deserved to win. And when reality smacked him in the face, he didn't process it. He didn't reflect. He crumbled into pettiness. It's the kind of reaction that turns a forgettable audition into a moment people still talk about years later. And watching it play out on national television, that's entertainment. But if you think that's the worst comeback a contestant ever had, you're not ready for what's next. Because the next person didn't just insult Simon, she flipped off the entire room. The middle finger exit. Mary Roach from season 4 came into her audition with energy, like way too much energy. She was dancing before she even started singing, spinning around, moving erratically, totally in her own world. The judges looked confused from the start, then she opened her mouth to sing I Feel the Earth Move. And the judges physically recoiled. Her voice was nasal, erratic. all over the place. There was no pitch control, no sense of rhythm. It was chaotic in the worst way possible. Randy looked confused. Paula looked concerned. Simon looked like he'd just witnessed a crime. And when she finished, there was this awkward silence. Nobody wanted to be the first one to say it, but Simon, being Simon, delivered the verdict. He told her it was the worst voice he'd ever heard.
Honestly, one of the worst I've ever heard in my life.
Brutal, but honest. But instead of owning it, Mary argued back. She told the judges they didn't understand real talent, that they were wrong about her. She genuinely believed she was good, like truly believed it. You could see it in her eyes. And when they still said no, when they made it clear she wasn't moving forward, Mary walked out. But she wasn't done yet. In her exit interview, she looked directly at the camera and she flipped everyone off. Just straight up gave the middle finger to the judges, the crew, America watching at home, then walked out like she'd somehow won, like that gesture had proven something. And this is where the psychology gets interesting. Mary's reaction wasn't really about the judges. It was about her own delusion colliding with reality. She couldn't process the rejection, couldn't accept that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't as good as she thought. So she lashed out. And that middle finger, that was her way of keeping control in a moment where she had absolutely none. It's the kind of defense mechanism people use when their ego is shattered and they don't know how else to cope. You see it all the time, not just on American Idol, in real life. It's easier to blame everyone else than to look in the mirror. But here's the thing, this level of defensiveness is still amateur hour compared to what's coming next. Because the next guy didn't just argue, he literally refused to let the judges speak. The interrupter Lamar Royal walked into his season 9 audition calm and collected.
No matter what the judges say, I will respect their opinion.
He seemed polite, respectful, ready to perform. The judges introduced themselves, asked him a few questions. Everything seemed normal. Then he opened his mouth to sing Kiss from a Rose by Seal, and it was immediately a disaster. He wasn't singing, he was yelling, screaming the lyrics at the top of his lungs with zero pitch control. The judges were stunned. When he finally stopped, they tried to give him feedback.
It was kind of torturous, man. I mean, the pitch was all over the place. It's like...
Tried to explain that he wasn't ready yet. They asked him, "Are you a good listener?" And Lamar said yes, confidently, like he genuinely believed it. But the meltdown didn't happen during the performance. It happened the second they started talking, because Lamar interrupted them constantly. Every time a judge tried to explain something, he'd cut them off, talk over them, praise himself instead of listening to what they were saying.
It wasn't great. There's a voice in there somewhere. You need to do a lot of work. I don't even know if you're really for this level. No, dog.
Randy would start a sentence and Lamar would jump in with, "But I know I'm talented." Paula would try to give advice and he'd dismiss it with, "I'm ready, you just don't see it." It was like watching someone self-destruct in real time. Eventually, he got so frustrated that he stormed out mid-conversation, didn't even wait for the final no, just walked out ranting about how American Idol only wants clowns and doesn't appreciate real talent. And here's what makes this so brutal. Lamar wasn't just rude, he was self-destructive. He had a chance to actually listen, to take the feedback, go work on his craft, maybe come back stronger in a future season. He sabotaged himself before anyone else could. But if you think talking over judges is bad, wait until you see what happens when a contestant questions their legal status. Because the next audition turned into a full-blown immigration interrogation. The visa incident, Ian Bernardo strutted into his season 6 audition like he was already famous. He didn't introduce himself, he announced himself.
What's your name?
My name is Ian Bernardo. That's my name.
How old are you?
I am 25 years old, Mr. Cowell.
All right, and why are you here, Ian?
Try out for American Idol.
I know that. That's good.
Talking about how his therapist told him he was destined for greatness, how his family knew he was a star, how it was only a matter of time before the world recognized his talent. The judges looked at each other like they'd heard this 1,000 times before, because they had, but Ian was different. Ian had confidence that bordered on delusion. The judges asked him to perform, and Ian delivered a spoken word version of Gloria. Not sung, spoken.
You're always on the run now, running after somebody.
Like a dramatic monologue over the instrumental. It was bizarre, over the top, and honestly kind of uncomfortable to watch. When he finished, the judges looked at each other like they couldn't believe what just happened. Simon spoke first, told Ian the performance was terrible.
It's just rubbish.
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 That the whole thing was a miss, and when Simon called it out, Ian didn't take it well. He called the feedback rubbish, started questioning Simon's vocabulary, asked him where he learned to speak English. Already, you could feel the tension rising. Then it escalated. Ian looked Simon dead in the eye and asked, "Where's your visa?"
Who are you?
Do it outside.
Do outside? Do you even have a working visa
Ian,
to be
I
here?
am bored of you.
I want to see,
As
as a tax-paying American in my
Out you
country,
go.
I want to see your working visa because I don't think you're legally.
Ian, I'm bored
I don't
now.
feel.
The room went silent. He accused Simon of being in the United States illegally, demanded proof that he was allowed to even be there. It was wild, completely out of pocket. Security stepped in, started escorting Ian out, but he wasn't done. As they walked him toward the exit, he kept ranting, told the cameras he was going to call National Geographic and have them label Simon Cowell as an extinct dodo
I'm
bird.
calling National Geographic to let them know that the dodo bird is not extinct. It's in there. And his name is Simon Cowell.
Said it with full confidence. Like that was somehow a legitimate threat. And this is where things go from rude to unhinged. Because Ian's meltdown wasn't about the performance anymore. It wasn't even about the feedback. It was about control. When Ian realized he couldn't impress the judges with his talent, he tried to embarrass them instead. The visa comment, that was a calculated move, an attempt to flip the power dynamic and make Simon the one on the defensive. But it backfired spectacularly. Instead of making Simon look bad, Ian turned himself into a meme, a cautionary tale, a moment people still reference when they talk about the worst American Idol auditions ever. And honestly, this is the kind of chaos that makes American Idol unforgettable. These aren't just bad auditions, they're moments where people's true colors come out under pressure. But we're not done yet, because the next two auditions, they took rudeness to a level that still shocks people today. Starting with a woman who thought she was bigger than Mariah Carey. Bigger than Mariah, Ronetta Johnson walked into her season 5 audition with the kind of confidence that only comes from complete delusion. Before she even sang a note, she started bragging.
Well, it says you think you could be bigger than J-Lo and Janet.
I can be.
Yeah?
But in the way she is.
Told the judges she was going to outshine Mariah Carey, Jennifer Lopez, Janet Jackson, all of them. She wasn't there to compete. She was there to claim her throne. The judges exchanged glances. You could tell they'd heard bold claims before. This was next level. They asked her to sing, and Ronetta chose Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears. But she didn't sing it like Britney. She didn't sing it like anyone. Her delivery was flighty, nonsensical, all over the place. No rhythm, no melody, just chaos. When she finished, the judges gave her the verdict. Paula said no. Randy said no. Simon said absolutely never. Clear, direct, final. And when the judges rejected her, Ronetta snapped. She didn't just leave upset. She unleashed a full profanity-laden tirade. Cursed out Paula, cursed out Simon, called them every name in the book. In the hallway, she kept going, told the cameras exactly what she thought of the judges and their lack of taste.
And Paula Abdul ain't got on me. So, I don't know who she was steering her nose up to.
It was aggressive. It was vulgar, and it was completely unfiltered. No holding back, no second thoughts, just raw anger. And here's why this moment stands out. Ronetta's outburst wasn't just rude, it was revealing. She didn't see herself as a contestant hoping for a shot. She saw herself as a star who'd been wrong, disrespected, overlooked by people who were beneath her. But as wild as this was, there's one audition that topped them all, and it involves the most aggressive, racially charged meltdown in American Idol history. The nuclear meltdown. Tamika Bush walked into her season 1 audition with something to prove. She chose Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston. Massive song, one of the most challenging vocals in pop music, and when she finished, the judges gave her honest feedback. They told her she wasn't a solo singer yet, that she needed vocal lessons, that with some training, she could maybe come back and try again. It wasn't mean, it wasn't harsh, it was constructive, the kind of feedback that could actually help someone grow. But Tamika didn't hear it that way, because instead of accepting the feedback, she got defensive immediately.
I'm hurt, and I'm angry.
She told Randy she sang better than him, that he didn't know what he was talking about. The judges tried to explain their reasoning, tried to walk her through why they were saying no, but Tamika started yelling enough over and over, wouldn't let them finish a sentence. She accused them of lying, of laughing at her behind her back, said they were disrespecting her on purpose. Paula tried to calm her down. Randy tried to reason with her. Simon just sat there watching the whole thing unfold, and then she stormed out. But the real shock came in the hallway, because that's where Tamika truly let loose.
What did they tell me? You can't sing, you don't have the talent. And then after I went off, they're gonna tell me, well, we just feel that you're not right for this. Y'all can kiss my ass.
She looked directly at the camera and told Randy to kiss her natural-born black ass. Called Simon clueless, said he didn't know talent if it smacked him in the face. And then she turned to Paula, said Paula was jealous of her, that Paula felt threatened by her presence. It was raw. It was personal, and it was brutal to watch. And this is where we need to talk about what actually happened here. Because Tamika's meltdown wasn't just about rejection, it was about frustration, identity, feeling disrespected and unheard. She attacked Randy's credibility, Simon's taste, Paula's character, and she did it all through the lens of someone who felt like she'd been wronged on a deeper level than just a bad audition. It's moments like this that remind you, American Idol auditions aren't just about singing, they're about people's dreams, egos, and breaking points colliding on national TV, and sometimes those collisions get ugly. Sometimes they reveal deeper wounds that have nothing to do with the audition itself. But here's the wildest part. All of these auditions happened years ago, most of them in the early 2000s. The next one, it happened in 2024 during Hollywood Week, and it proves that rude moments aren't going anywhere. The Hollywood Week meltdown, Madai Chakel made it through her season 22 audition singing I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry. She had the voice. She had the confidence. The judges saw potential, and she made it to Hollywood Week. That's where things fell apart. During Hollywood Week, she was supposed to perform Tattooed Heart by Ariana Grande. She started singing. And then, mid-performance, she stopped. Just stopped. Looked at the production team and told them the pianist was off-key.
Can we start that over?
Said she couldn't continue with the accompaniment because it was throwing her off. The judges looked shocked, the crew looked confused, and it only got worse from there. She demanded to go a cappella, no piano, no backing track, just her voice. The judges looked at each other, clearly caught off guard, but they let her continue. She finished the performance, and the feedback was mixed. Some of the judges liked her voice. Others weren't sure if she could handle the pressure of the competition, but instead of taking the feedback gracefully, Madai got condescending. She started mocking Luke Bryan.
Your voice okay, Luke? I haven't heard you sing. Obviously I can sing,
Made fun of his height, his style, called out his fashion choices. Did it all with this smirk on her face like she was above the entire process.
You know, you said something before, I don't really know who I am quite yet. So I want to show you that I can be everyone and everything. Isn't that what an American Idol is?
Luke tried to laugh it off, but you could tell he was annoyed. Katy Perry looked uncomfortable. Lionel Richie just shook his head, and this is what makes this moment so significant. Because Madai represents the new era of American Idol entitlement. She didn't just think she was talented, she thought she was too good for the show's format. Stopping mid-song during Hollywood Week to critique the production. That's not confidence, that's arrogance. And mocking the judges when they're trying to give you feedback, that's career suicide. But Madai didn't care. She walked out of that room like she'd done nothing wrong, like she'd somehow proven a point. And it's a reminder that no matter how much time passes, no matter how many seasons go by, some contestants will always value their ego over their opportunity. They'll sabotage themselves before they ever admit they might need to improve. Which brings us full circle, because every single one of these moments had one thing in common. The contestants weren't just rude, they were delusional. They walked into those rooms expecting validation and walked out with reality checks they couldn't handle. And instead of taking it as a learning moment, they lashed out. Some cursed, some argued, some literally stopped mid-song to complain about the production. But they all proved the same thing. Talent without humility is worthless, and rudeness, that'll get you remembered, just not in the way you want. If you made it this far, drop a comment with the rudest audition you've ever seen. I'll see you next time.